They almost got there this week too. Unfortunately, they just kind of ran out of time and, understandably decided to take a knee on the 2-yard line because I guess guaranteeing a victory is better than padding your stats, I guess. Ugh. Welcome to the jungle, Bengals fans. I'm Kyle Phelps, and I am loving this universe where the Bengals are good and the Steelers are bad. Can we stay here for a while, please? While we figure out the answer to that question, though, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It'll help my channel grow, and it helps you know when I put out all of my content. So y'all want to know a cool stat? 2 of the 3 highest passing performances in a single game in Bengals history are held by one Joe Burrow. Obviously, his performance last year with 525 yards against the Baltimore Ravens still ranks number 1. Then you've got Boomer Esiason's 522-yard performance against Washington in 1996. And in third, you've got yesterday's 481-yard performance against the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, and by the way, Hayden Hurst being a key factor in picking up some huge first downs when it felt like the offense was sputtering against the most recent team to completely give up on him despite him being a really talented player and a former first-round draft pick at that. That's just icing on the cake, man. So the Bengals offense is starting to wake up. I think we can all agree with that. The Tiger has been unleashed, no pun intended, and the rest of the NFL is officially on notice. It was really nice to see the offense get off to a fast start 2 weeks in a row. Seems like the whole taking the ball first method is panning out because the Bengals jumped out to a 21-0 lead at one point early in the second quarter. When the Falcons did finally score a touchdown, it took them an 11-minute drive, and most of the second quarter at that. If that's what it's going to take for an opposing team to score points, you could pretty much take massive comebacks off the table at that point. Well, that's until the offense and the special teams absolutely imploded in the final minute of the first half, and you ended up going into the half only up by 11 points when you had a 21-point lead earlier. On that play, Eli Apple went far beyond burnt toast on that 75-yard pass to Damiere Byrd. He was really more like charcoal that came from a volcano that was like pressurized and concentrated in the depths of the black hole at the center of the universe. What I'm saying is Eli Apple got burned on a quantum level. Then the Bengals had a bad offensive drive, punted the ball away, and let the Falcons return at 56 yards with just enough time on the clock left for a field goal attempt. So, not feeling great. But that didn't stop Joe Burrow from being the absolute madman and going on these sustained drives for the rest of the game. They only scored 7 points in the second half, which, is important, but the defense didn't allow any points at all. And they kept the clock running. When they went on that drive in the mid-third quarter that ended with Joe Burrow keeping it himself and then punching it into the end zone, it really felt like there wasn't much left that the Falcons could do at all. At that point, you're up 17 points, and the defense hasn't given you any reason to believe that the weirdness in the second quarter was anything more than just kind of a weird anomaly. Now, before the game, I predicted that the Bengals would come away with a 42-24 win this week. Why? Because the Bengals are good at everything the Falcons are bad at. Because the Bengals have been following the same patterns that they followed last year. They started 2-3 this year, but they probably should have started 2-3 last year if it weren't for that crazy lucky fumble that Dalvin Cook had in Week 1. Week 6 was when the offense woke up, just like this year, and Week 7 was when they went over 40 for the first time. They almost got there this week, too. Unfortunately, they just kind of ran out of time and, understandably, decided to take a knee on the 2-yard line because I guess guaranteeing a victory is better than padding your stats, I guess. Ugh. So unfortunately, my score prediction didn't quite happen. Although you could probably make the argument that they were on pace to exceed my expectations. The offense they kept stalling out at odd times in the second half. Then again, so did the Falcons offense, so I guess it kind of works out. I did end up getting the margin of victory right. I just thought there was going to be a little bit more scoring on both sides. But you know what? It works out, right? The Bengals offense, I think, is finally back to the level that we all hoped they could be this year. And while it's not perfect, the offensive line looks a lot better lately. This looks like the playoff team that we all knew that they could be. Unfortunately, with the Ravens beating the Browns in the most Browns way imaginable, the Bengals remain in second place in the AFC North and fourth place in the current wildcard standing. So they're not quite there yet, but they look like they're going to be soon. Remember how I kept comparing things to how they, happened and developed last year? Well, we're coming up on weeks 8 and 9 in this particular season, and weeks 8 and 9 last year are when they got upset by the Jets and the Browns back to back. So, I mean, hopefully they can, learn the lessons from last year and avoid the fate that they had, and they can stay on the come-up this time, because they're a game behind this year. They don't really have as much room to screw up like they did last year. This time around, instead of the Jets and the Browns, it's going to be the Panthers and the Browns before the Week 10 bye. Those teams look extremely beatable right now, but anyone who watched the Bengals last year knows that anything can and will happen. That said, if they can go into the bye with a 6-3 record, I think it'll go a long way towards virtually guaranteeing them a spot in the playoffs. Not, obviously not for sure guaranteeing, they still have to go do it, but it's a really good start at that point. It does seem like the Bengals are starting to learn some of the lessons from last year, so I don't think anything is really out of the question just yet. Although I will say, as far as learning lessons go, can we please learn the one about not taking the damn points when you're in field goal range? I get what Zach is trying to do, right? You trust the defense to make the stop, and they did. And you want the offense to, go for it and see if you can pick it up to maintain the momentum. I get that. But the Bengals currently have the second worst fourth down conversion percentage in the NFL right now at 25%. It's not working, guys, and it's gotten you into a lot of trouble this year. It's worked at times. It's worked out at times. It hasn't really worked a whole lot. It's worked out at times, but it hasn't actually worked very often this year. I'd say, roughly about 1 in every 4 times that you go for it, you actually get it. So it's the other 3 times, you're setting yourself up for, massive failure. I would think the analytics would take that into account. But if they're winning, I guess we're not allowed to talk about the flaws, right? Oops, did I say that out loud? Oh well, I'm just putting it out there because I'm inevitably going to be forced to bring it up again, and then I'm gonna point y'all back to this video and it's important to talk about, So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll feature the best ones in my next episode, like this one from Majestic YT, who on my Andy Dalton reaction video said, video title suggestion, Andy Dalton's twin brother reacts to Saints' loss to the Cardinals. So, first of all, allegedly he's my father, according to Tom Grossi, not my brother. But that would be funny. About as funny as Andy Dalton's primetime talent, which doesn't exist, and actually, never mind, that's actually just sad. But your suggestion's funny. But that's all I got for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You can always find more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and right here if you subscribe. But that's all I got for this one, guys. We're back over 500, baby. I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hootie!